me, given our determined focus on developing and improving local contents in the power sector for sustainability of the sector and job creation for our teeming population, which is why I have to cut short my short vacation to ensure I'm able to attend the event here today. Thank you. This launch represents a key achievement in our ongoing efforts to prioritize local content, like I mentioned earlier, to foster job creation and reduce Nigeria's reliance on importation. This, of course, will reduce the pressure on our currency and improve the exchange rates that has recently gone haywire. And we all know the impacts of the cost of living and the hardship our people are passing through. In spite of this, we all maintain the hope that it's going to be short-lived and it's a temporary pain for us to enjoy eternal comfort. By promoting domestic production of essential energy components like meters, we are not only driving industrial growth, but also enhancing the sustainability of the power sector. We know what it involves to keep relying on imports for the major components used in our power sector infrastructure, from generation to transmission to distribution. We keep importing power transformers, keep importing power cables, we are importing towers, we are importing transformers, distribution transformers, importing meters. Three things. Number one is the fact that it elongates the turnaround timing to fix our dilapidated infrastructure. The process of opening Form M, of applying for FX allocation, of doing the import itself in terms of rates, of clearing at the ports. This is one of the reasons why we have experienced the kind of deplorable state of our infrastructure in the power sector. We believe that if a lot of these materials can be sourced locally, the timing required for fixing these infrastructures will greatly reduce, and the gaps we currently experience will be filled. Like I mentioned earlier, number two is the pressure on our currency. We must be self-reliant as much as possible. We must produce what we consume, and we must consume what we produce. That is the only way out. We cannot force exchange rates. It is the consequence of the market forces, demand and supply. The moment your foreign exchange earnings is far lower than the exchange required for imports, of course, it is logical that when demand is higher than supply, the price goes up. That's why we are having the escalating exchange rate that we have in Nigeria. But we have more companies like this, like Hexing, that have decided to establish factories here, not just trading on our resources. You're producing in China, you are selling to Nigeria. You are making the money from Nigeria, you are using to feed people in China, create jobs in China, pay taxes in China. No, there must be a stop to this. They cannot happen overnight. This is one of the steps in the right direction. Thank you so much, Hexing. Let's give them a round of applause. A lot of other companies will emulate this patrol impressed. And number three is the job creation, like I mentioned. When you have more, this is over 200 million people in Nigeria. Labor is one of the cheapest things that we have. We have people that are ready to work, but the jobs are not there. But when we have pockets of companies springing up across the country, there will be abundant jobs for our people. It will improve their income, purchasing power will improve, and we know this will translate to the market economics. So thank you for doing this. An enabler of the reform processes to drive technology, innovation, and industry liquidity in the sector within remarkable stride, and the Ministry of Power is fully committed to promoting this effort and future investment of the company towards our sector development. As a way of ensuring the sector is bankable and sustainable, we have implemented a multi-pronged approach in the last 1 year to address bottlenecks across the Nigerian electricity supply industry, value chain, and set the sector on the path of recovery and prosperity. Specifically, we have streamlined the legislative and policy processes to reduce bureaucratic red tape and encourage active participation from the subnationals, thereby fostering investment and project execution. Just as I was taking my seat, the first thing myself and my leader here started discussing is about the bureaucratic bottleneck, which continues to frustrate the efforts of those in power with good and sincere intentions to change things. And this happened to be our first focus when we resumed, that we must have it that will guide us in our sectoral transformation and our sectoral reforms. So the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, in his magnanimity, the first bill he signed to an act was the 2023 Electricity Act, which has two unique things that the power sector reform and PCSRA of 2006 did not have. Number one is decentralization, to ensure that power sector is decentralized. We have one federal government, 36 state governments plus FCT, 774 local governments. Power sector cannot be centralized, except we are not based in here. The Electricity Company of Nigeria, ECN, in the 60s, the National Electric Power Authority in the 70s and 80s, and the Power Holding Company of the late 90s and 2000, they were all centralized institutions, which is why we did not achieve the kind of desired status for our power sector. But this Electricity Act has decentralized it. It has enabled all the subnational governments, the state governments, and the local government to be able to participate in the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. We all rely on a single national grid today. If there is a disturbance of national grid, it affects all the 36 states. Should it be like that? No. This will enable us to start moving gradually towards having regional grids and possibly having state grids. And each of these grids will be immune and shielded from each other. So if there is a problem in a particular grid, it's only the states where it belongs that it will affect, not the entire nation. So this is one of the impacts that this Electricity Act will have. And the second thing is about liberalization of the industry. Before now, it was only the federal government that was spending all the money. In NEPA, it was through subvention and budgetary allocations. The same thing with PHCN and all that. But this act has enabled private sector investors to participate in the power sector. I keep saying it that we must remain jokers if we believe government alone can spend the money required to take this industry to the El Dorado. We must be jokers. For us to achieve 24/7 stable, functional, reliable, and affordable electricity for every Nigerian today, we require nothing less than a $10 billion investment on an annual basis for the next 10 to 15 years. For us to get there, we see that over 90 million people in Nigerians without access to electricity. Not only in the rural areas, we have semi-urban areas that are underserved. For us to achieve this, that's what it requires. Let me not burst the bubble. Our budget for the entire country for 2024 was just 30 trillion naira. That's a little less than $20 billion. Let's even say government is magnanimous. They decide to be allocating 10% of this to power, which is not possible. What we have this year is less than 2%. 10% of $20 billion is just $2 billion. In 1 year, where is the gap of the $8 billion? Where is it going to come from? So, private sector investors must be attracted. And they must be guaranteed of return on their investment and return of their investment. If there is no recovery in sight, they will not be here. They won't be here. So, this is one of the benefits of the Electricity Act. While Hexing is able to come and participate and invest in the production and manufacture of power infrastructure. These are the two things that federal government has done. We keep talking about grid collapse, whether it's total collapse or it's partial collapse or slight chip off. This is almost inevitable as it is today, given the state of our power infrastructure. The infrastructures are in deplorable conditions. Why won't you have trip-offs? Why won't you have collapses, either total or partial? It will continue to remain like this until we're able to overhaul the entire power infrastructure. What we do now is to make sure that we manage it. And in the last 4 months, we have not heard of any grid collapse, except 2 days ago where we had a partial collapse that didn't even last 2 hours. So what we work on now is to improve our response time, to bring it up each time there is a trip-off. Transformers of 60-year-old, 50-year-old, lines that were there since the 60s, and you're expecting to perform at the optimal rate 40 years after, it is not possible. Which is why we need a lot of investments in this infrastructure to bring them up to speed, to bring them up to the state that will be able to give us a grid that will not collapse again. The Ministry of Power and our agencies were committed to ensure that when we experience little disturbances like this in our grid, it doesn't take time for us to restore power and bring it up again so that it does not affect our economic activities. To de-risk projects, investments, and attract more substantial financial commitments, enabling larger and faster project rollouts. Thirdly, we have partially implemented what is called full cost reflective tariff for a portion of electricity consumers, that's band A, to improve liquidity and investments in the sector. Revenues for the sector officially for 2023 was 1 trillion naira, with a little about 50 million extra. 1 trillion. This year, 2024, we are going to end up with not less than 2 trillion for this industry. Yes, thank you. That is doubling the industrial sectoral revenue available for DISCOs and the GENCOs to invest in improving power infrastructure. But let me tell you, I need to correct an impression. There's a portion of the media, of the press, that says this revenue is an additional burden on the consumers, next consumer. No, it is not. It is just a mere reallocation of resources from what they used to spend on petrol and diesel. Now they are paid to enjoy grid power supply. In 2023, 1 trillion naira revenue was made in the official power sector, but I can tell you that 16.5 trillion was spent in procuring petrol, diesel to fuel generators. But today, that we have more stable supply than we used to have, a lot of people do not spend on fuel again. Not on diesel, not on petrol. Fine, we are charging to 09 as a full cost reflective tariff for band A. But for you to generate a kilowatt hour of power using petrol generator today at today's rate of petrol, 1,000 naira per liter is going to be about 750 naira to generate a kilowatt hour. And for diesel, it remains about 950 naira. So, power sector consumers, they are like a beautiful bride that have now tried 2 matrimonies. If they want to be sincere, they know which of the husbands to remain with. Which is why consumers must support government. They must join hands with discos to ensure that we are not only sustaining this present situation, we are also improving on it. But the option that we have is to go back to the days of generators. Do we want that? We don't. Not even from the cost perspective, from the health perspective. The kind of pollution that we all experience with generator noises here and there, the fumes here and there. But we are first bringing sanity to the power sector. And we won't relent on us. We will ensure that the current situation is improved upon. So we are adopting commercialization in the sector to enable investors have a line of sight to the return of their investments. I'm telling you today, Hexing Group, that you will not regret this decision. You, that is over 200 million people. The market is there. Today, the meter gap we have is about 7 million. At about 13 million customers, less than 6 million have meters. We have 7 million without meters that still pay on estimated billing. That's why a lot of customers are reluctant to pay. And they resist billings because estimated billing is never accurate, it is never transparent, and I believe it is fraudulent. Someone is cheating someone. Either the customer is cheating the discos, or the discos are cheating the customers, or the staff of the discos are cheating both the customer and the discos. It is one of those three. And we want to stop that. We appreciate the fact that it cannot stop overnight. It's not a day's job. So people have to be patient, and we have put a lot of initiatives in place to ensure that we're able to reduce or completely eliminate this meter gap. We have initiated national programs to fast-track infrastructure development aimed at building a robust and resilient grid network. We are all aware of what we call the Presidential Power Initiative, PPI, which we all know as a Siemens project. Government is spending nothing less than $2.3 billion together with the government of Germany and the Chinese government to ensure that we rejig the transmission segment of our power sector value chain and improve the performance of the segment of the power sector value chain. We are done with the phase one. The pilot phase of this project. We have installed 10 new power transformers from Siemens. We have installed 10 new power mobile substations, which is one of the reasons for the result we are seeing today. The stability that we are currently experiencing. It might appear little, but it's a step towards the right direction, and we'll continue to do more. Lastly, we are fostering strategic partnerships and collaborations with investment communities and development partners to leverage global expertise, share resources, and co-invest in this sector. This message goes to the CEO of Hexing Group and the entire executive management. It can never be local content 100% from day one. There will be a lot of semi-knockdown parts, SKDs, or completely knockdown parts, CKDs, and you bring for China. But gradually, you start integrating using local resources. We want you to speed up or accelerate technology transfer to our people. You need to train our people. We don't want to get to your company and find out that 90% of your employees are from China. No. If you start with 30%, we want you to keep reducing it on a yearly basis and replace them with our people by training them, by transferring the technology, by handholding them, so that we are going towards a complete domesticization of our operations. So we will leverage on your global expertise to train our people and develop human capacity, and also share resources with you as we co-invest in this sector. We believe that military plays a crucial role in ensuring transparency and fairness in electricity billing, reducing estimated billing, and improving the overall financial health of the sector. The Presidential Metering Initiative, which aims to install 2 million meters by the end of this year, is a testament to our commitment to addressing the metering gap, and this factory will play a pivotal role in achieving that target, ensuring that more Nigerian households and businesses are accurately billed for the power they consume. The Presidential Metering Initiative, PMI, which the federal government is implementing with the collaboration of the state governments, that's the Nigerian Governors Forum, targets 10 million meters in the next 5 years. That's a minimum target of 2 million meters per year. You can see that the market is there for you. The opportunity and the potentials are actually there. And beyond this, we have the support of the World Bank with a program that is importing about 3.2 million meters within the next 2 years. And I can tell you authoritatively that we have procured 1.3 million meters already. We have signed the contract, we have made payment for it under the World Bank program, and we are expecting the first delivery, the first batch, by December 2024, which is the next 2 months, while the balance will be delivered before the end of the second quarter. So the market is there for you, the potentials are there. It's just for you to ensure that you play fairly in the market. Finally, I would like to thank necessary reforms to position us on the path of sustainability and growth. As we continue to transform Nigeria's energy sector, I'm quite confident that this meter factory will contribute goals of energy security,